I never listened to Luciano that much. I think I am not the singer type, I'm
Okay.
the DJ type,
Okay.
So I believe I didn't listen to him much.
You didn't. Okay. Let's take a listen to something, and we'll be right back.
What's happening in Africa? When you go on the continent, Wale, so what really go on? So they look on the internet and will study every move going on in Jamaica, whatever thing, and they try to emulate us in that way.
And that's Luciano, granted an interview in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I picked up a few things. I couldn't. You understood everything, right?
Yeah, I understood everything.
Yeah. Is he talking out of his jaw, or he's?
Well, I feel sometimes certain artists feel people have to follow their trend of music. But
Okay.
I would say he made a statement of all those artists who think they are big in Jamaica are not big in Ghana, and that is a big lie.
But okay.
Because most of the youth in Ghana love Vibes Cartel. We love Alkaline. We love Movado. And Luciano himself is not big like that in Ghana right now. When you talk about Luciano, you talk about, my grandfather's time,
Old thing.
Yeah, old type of music. But now with the generation, he came to Ghana recently, and I believe he should, preach, the righteousness he's been talking about to the Jamaicans. Tell them,
I didn't feel this was righteous,
Yeah, because that is a big lie. What he's also saying about Stonebwoy, and he only God knows what he's talking about, is also a big lie, because when you talk about Stonebwoy, he's trying to push the career same way as I'm pushing,
Okay.
So he's doing something great that we Ghanaians love, and I don't think he should talk about
And the thing is, it's about clarity. You guys give clarity in your music. You with the things with the words that you speak. He thinks that you go on the internet. Let's find what is happening here. Alkaline sounds like nice. Magazine.
No, but you see, I think it's a language,
Okay.
that people study, and he shouldn't think they are the only best people that can speak like patois, because you can get someone in Ghana who speaks like very good French, more than maybe someone in maybe France who grew up, and never went to school, because maybe because of education, this one can speak and express him or herself better, So I believe what all he said on the interview there was like full of lies, and I don't really want things like that to happen. Sometimes when they come to Ghana, they have to respect us, because we believe we are all Africans, and he's in Jamaica and he has to believe.
You've been out there for a while. You stayed out there for a while.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that you lived out in Jamaica, for a while.
Yeah.
And what's the similarities of the things? I mean, correlation to what he said in terms of music.
Well, I think Jamaicans and Ghanaians have certain things in common. Recently I was just making a joke out of it. I was like, when you step in Jamaica, you're just gonna feel the mosquitoes and know that this is Ghana. But apart from that, I feel we are sharing the same vibes. I believe we're promoting the same things that they are promoting. I believe we also sharing the same ideas, because when you listen to somebody like Vibes Cartel, who is one of my great artists, I love his vibe so much, because I feel he sends the message across in the right direction, even though he does some explicit songs that, we might not like, or people might take it too offensive. I believe he's one great artist, and that I like the vibes that he shares. When you listen to somebody like Jackie, he's got like love vibes that when you listen to, So I feel we share the same vibes, and when you bring them to Ghana, once a time somebody was comparing Ghanaian artists to Jamaican artists, and people were putting like maybe Jupiter to this artist, Stonebwoy to this artist, and I was like, no,
it doesn't work like that.
we just want people. It's just the language that is different from us, but we are trying to even promote it clearly to the world, because when you listen to my songs, I don't really want to sound so patois. I want to put a little bit of Ga in there. I want to put like tree in there, pidgin, and maybe one line of patois, just for the world to go like, oh, wow, is he a Jamaican? No, I think he's speaking, to make me
dialect attached.
Yeah, so I
interesting.
believe,
All right. My guest today on Personality Profile, proudly brought to us by Vodafone, Power to You, and Takai, the Taste of Africa. And he's Shatta Wale. And go on Twitter, there's hashtag running, Shatta Wale on Joy. And also use the hashtag Drive on Joy. And you can send in your questions. Maybe we'll slip in one or two. Now, Shatta, let's come home. So, educational background. You speak. People get surprised with your command of the language. How do you feel about that? Of English language, I mean.
Well, I believe I grew up like in a very good family, I would say, and education was the main key. I remember one time when I told my dad I wanted to, stop like school and do music. I was like, yo, I should try and finish my school because it was very important. You know, and he had to push me and force me to finish, and I believe I like learning. That's one thing about me. I always want to research. I always want to see what is going around the world and just learn. So I believe
You started school where?
7th grade Princess Academy.
Okay.
Yeah, and I went to Winneba Secondary School. I couldn't complete there, so I had to go to the Volta region to write my exams at Fuega Secondary School.
Okay.
Which
So let's go back to 7th grade. Is that Shalom Shalom?
Yeah, Shalom was like my primary.
That's your okay.
Yeah, that's why I went to primary.
We research told us that you were a bellboy.
No, I was a drummer.
You were the drummer, not the bellboy.
Like change lesson, please.
Yeah. I have a schoolmate actually standing by, waiting to confirm that you used to knock the bell.
No, not a bell. I think maybe he's lost his archives. He should go back.
He should lost his archives. Okay. Shalom Shalom evidence number 1. It's coming up. So what did you mean? We heard Asamajan was your mate.
Yeah, when I went to 7th grade, that was JSS 1. Yeah, he was at the old site. We had a new site and an old site for 7th grade. So that was where I met him one time when we had sports.
Yeah.
And he was trying to play his normal football, but I saw myself to be a footballer by then, but because my PE master wasn't selecting me too much, I went to basketball because I was like, yeah, that'll be, that kind of thing, So,
you had the trainers.
Yeah, man, like everything set, and at that time, I loved like Michael Jordan so much, but I was always like acting like Scottie Pippen, like, check me out, that kind of thing.
That's deep. That's deep b-ball. You only have to play to know it. So how long did your love for basketball last?
Well, I think a couple of years, like 3 or 4 years, where I just stopped because I felt, I wasn't getting so much selection when it comes to me playing and stuff like that. So.
Did you have that dream? Every one of us thought that we could play college basketball.
Yeah.
Go to college in America.
I was always like, I think TV3 used to show like basketball something when it's like 5 something, and I always watch it. It was my dream to be like that, but. When I watch the heights and stuff, I feel maybe they eat something that I don't eat. Here it's full of MPC and Gary.
The kinky was winning us.
Mashki. The heaviness of the kinky is always giving us short weight.
So what's the biggest thing you learned, at the secondary level? Was that where music was solidified that okay, I'm going to pursue music?
Yeah, I think so. I remember the first day my dad took me to school. He told me that I should participate in everything that I feel like comfortable doing, and I think he came to school to visit me sometime, and I told him I went on stage and the way the students were like cheering me up, screaming, and everybody said I could do good music. I told him, and it was like, yo, if I could represent the school as the best musician, I should try and do it because people are here. Some are doing sports, some are learning hard for the school and doing brilliant science and math quiz and stuff. So if I could stand as the best musician in the school, he's supporting me, so I should just continue and do it. So I think
your father sounds like a very towering figure in your life. Like we've been talking for a couple of 20 minutes, and all I hear is my dad. Where's your mom in all this?
My mom is, not living with my dad. I think they had some few problems, broken home, and she's living elsewhere. But the reason why I like to mention my dad is that he's always a serious person. He likes to do things that he feels like is always right, to do. And I believe I've watched him from birth, and certain decisions that he's taken has really built him to a level that I feel proud about. For instance, I can give an instance. It was like I was like 9 years when I think a landlord sacked us from our house, and we were staying somewhere crazy, weird, and his friends like saloon, and we're living there, and I was always asking him, Daddy, are we gonna stay here forever? He was like, no, we can stay here. This is not our place. This is not our place. He talks so confident. I go like, this is my father, pa. If you don't get money, tell me, make I know what's up. Because, and he was always like, Gino, no. So, and as a kid growing, I had never like being to them public bathrooms, them public places.
You were living in your own private space. Now you had to share.
Yeah, so I was a bit shocked, on the level. So anytime he talks, I just watch him and go like, okay. But one day I woke up and he told me, he talks to me like his brother, when I was young.
Not as his son.
No, because anytime he talks to me, like he's putting something in me for me to feel that, man can do it, and that kind of. So I think that thing really built me up, because I woke up one day and he told me he's got a house, we're going to live here and going to stay in the house. And my mom was pregnant by then. I was like, okay, my mom is going to be at the hospital until he pays for the house. We're not going to leave. I was like, this guy, bye, get him home. But he came home one day and took me to the house, and, that day I cried because, I really saw my dad from another side of life. So when we came down like that, I was always feeling some way for him, how his friends will see him, how people are going to talk about him. But, he really changed my view, changed my, mind of like what I was seeing around. So that's why, I always like to call his name anywhere I am, because I feel my motivation is my role model. I believe he's my Buju Bantan as well.
It's your Buju. Abuju.
Buju Bantan,
My guest in the studio is Shatta Wale. Hey, if you want to tweet at us, please #DriveOnJoy. DriveOnJoy, and we'll pick up your question, one or two of them. Now, Shatta, let's jump back to, again, I'm still saying a little bit in school. You used to be bad, innit? What's the biggest punishment you suffered in school?
I say when they asked me to weed a whole like big land,
Big land.
Yeah.
The teacher stretched his hand and say
he threw a stone actually, he threw a stone from one junction to the other, like this guy, but I couldn't weed all, so I had to go like see him and beg him and tell him I won't do. But it was like, no, it was the school's decision for me to do, and I had to do it because I have a very soft palm and I don't weed too. So
you mean that I be palms?
Yeah, my palm has always been soft and I be with Haliba.
Let's jump into your career now. Since when was it that you decided to call yourself Bandana as a stage name?
Well, I think it was in 2002. Yeah. When I started recording, I started featuring on a friend's album.
What was the first song you ever recorded?
The first song
recording.
First recording was That was like, I was like with a ball by then, So that was the first time I entered the studio and recorded a song.
With a ball?
No, actually, I was living, we're living in the same area.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the first song I recorded. It sounds like, doggy, my baby, because I always, some song like that, because I was trying to do an album, and, I told my dad, and he gave me some small money to try and do something for him to see if he can, push me, but. When I finished doing it, it was like, yeah, it's good, nice, but I need to go to school, Yeah, so I think that's the first song I really recorded, like, in the studio. Yeah.
That was the very first time?
Yeah, that was the very first time.
And that was never released commercially?
No. Right now, if I listen to it, so if I had released that song those times, like, people would chase me and beat me.
So, Shalom surprise number one. This is Evans Mensah, and he remembers you.
The point is, I'm not sure he remembers.
He remembers.
No.
I'm not sure he remembers. But I don't know if you remember William Rodney Crabb.
Yeah, I remember William Rodney Crabb. I know that name.
Yes.
Well, yeah, some black boy. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. He was my friend, though.
He's still a friend.
Yeah, but it's a long time I saw him, though.
Exactly. We're all in the same school together.
Wow.
the Institute of Divine Education.
Yeah.
I remember class 6. You were either, I was telling them you were either the drama boy or you were
drama.
doing
It
the
says
drums.
drama.
No, I was a ching. You know?
Yeah, chain lesson.
Round, I think I
You
changed,
know,
Y2K.
closing time.
Yeah.
You come and drum, and then
Yeah.
all of us will come
Oh,
out.
so
Yeah.
instead of the bell, it was a drum.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
using the Y2K terms.
Okay. He's not compliant. Yeah, your software is dead. Please.
And she had this sister. You
Yeah,
know, I think
Karen.
we were in the same class.
Yeah,
you know,
Karen,
very
yeah.
fair.
Why are you remembering his sister?
Because you know.
Oh, all right,
she was
you
very
know,
beautiful.
yeah,
Listen to the man.
yeah.
She's very beautiful.
That we know,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
he remembering her is a problem for me.
Yeah, oh, don't worry. If anything, I'll go just take care of things myself.
So, continuing on your musical career, 2002, you burst into the scene.
Yeah.
Call yourself Bandana.
You know, I was recording with my friends when, you know, the owner of the studio was like, I have a good voice that I feel, and he feels he can help me out, you know, because I told him I wanted to really record and come out, because he was like, no, if I could, you know, sign a contract with him and pay, you know, he could also help me, blah, blah, blah. So when he told me that, I just told myself, no, then I need to really change my name from Doggy, which I was using in school. You know, because I was like...
So wait, your nickname back in school
was Doggy.
Doggy?
Yeah.
Not Doggy?
Yeah, no, Doggy, like, you know, Doggy style.
Shatta Doggy.
Yeah, and you know, I always had...
Was it after Snoop Dogg? Was there anything correlation?
No, you know,
You had a favorite dog?
No, when I was growing up, the best dancer artist in Ghana I really loved was Yogi Doggy.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, he was like I was always around him, you know, telling him, I want to be like you, you know, I want to be big, I want to make you proud, you know. So I think when I went to OSS, that was the only name I could choose for me to, you know, make my name in school. So everybody knew me as Doggy in school. And, you know, when I got this deal, I was like, no, I need to come out well. I don't want anybody to think that's Yogi Doggy. So, you know me, I love to tie bandana on my wrist anytime or on my forehead. So something just came into my head and I was like, yo, let me use this name, bandana, because I feel it sounds nice. It's catchy. People already know the name. It's going to really take me far too. So I just decided to, you know, bring out that name in my first song. And lo and behold, it became, you know, one great hit in Ghana, which, you know, I always thank God for. And you know, that was how I started a music career, though.
Let's jump forward. When did you realize that you had to, again, rebrand from Bandana to Shatta Wale?
Well, it got to a time where, you know, I felt I've been so much, like, under pressure when it comes to, like, the music industry. Because, you know, when I came out, you know, nobody educated me about, like, the way the industry was, you know. I was facing problems here and there, like problems
So
like...
what were some of the challenges?
Like, you know, they call you for shows, they don't pay you, you know, they use your name, your pictures for adverts, and, you know, sometimes you see it, and when you talk to certain people in the industry, they try to, like, you know, they try to, like, you know, they try to worry you and, you know, talk to you in a way that you wouldn't understand. And, you know, I felt, you know, there was a little bit of disrespect. You know, yeah, so I had to, you know, get furious sometimes, you know, speak my mind sometimes to certain people.
Before you get paid.
Yeah, you know, because I was like, no, but Lil Bow Wow just came out and he's even bought a house. So why can't, you know, that kind of thing, you know, I was feeling that kind of way in me. You know? So I think the industry started, like, which I wouldn't lie, you know, started, you know, grouping themselves around to, you know, make sure, you know, I wasn't in their circle anymore. And that...
Is that why there was a long hibernation between Bandana and Shatta?
Yeah, because, you know, I had to take a quick plan, which I decided to get myself, you know, a computer, you know, some small keyboard and start playing my own beats. And because I even go to studios and people didn't want to record me anymore, you know, and my own engineer who really recorded me from the Bandana time, you know, had to call me and tell me how many people are calling him not to record me because I don't respect, I don't do this. And I believe it wasn't that I don't respect. I was just fighting for what was my own, you know. I like to get what was rightfully mine, you know. Yeah, so I just got this call from God that, yo, buy a computer, work out something, start playing beats, you know. And I started looking for softwares myself, started playing beats, and, you know, I believe that really helped me up to now. And, you know,
You still play your beats?
yeah, all my songs now, like I play my beats, you know, I do everything myself now. You know, I have my own studio. I don't go to any studio. So I believe that really pushed me and encouraged me to to be myself, you know. And I believe that is how come, you know, I've gotten to this Shatta Wale level. And the name from Bandana to Shatta Wale was just, you know, a prayer between like me and God. Because I told him...
But the thing is, I kept hearing Wale as your call.
Yeah.
Like your almost like a slogan in your song.
Yeah, like from Bandana
Yes.
time, yeah. Yeah, Wale was a word that I created myself. World alerted lyrical entertainer. Or
World
alerted lyrical entertainer, or world acclaimed lyrical entertainer. You know,
Okay.
because I really believed in me that I could really I could show Ghanaians what you know, I could do best. You know, because anytime that I watch myself, I see myself to be one great artist that, you know, Ghanaians are going to be proud of, you know, one day to come. So, and I've seen myself like on a whole lot of stages, and sometimes I even, you know, shed tears and go like, wow, this name is really pushing me high, you know. And that is how come the Wale came about. So
Okay.
me changing my name to Shatta Wale was a big decision, because I was like, yo, people didn't want to promote dancehall in Ghana. They always say, yo, what you doing is so hard, you know, people can't sing to it, people can't dance. So I decided to, you know, put, you know, myself, you know, on a level and, you know, pick a name. And the only name that could come into my mind was Shatta, you know. And
So, let me ask you: is this how success looks like to you?
yeah, I believe before you succeed, you have to be a failure, you know. So I believe
Okay.
I went down, you know, as a failure, and I didn't feel shy about it. I felt it was one of life's lessons for me to climb up to, you know, a level. So I believe success don't just come like that. People who just get rich, you know, without suffering for it, you know, eventually lose them when they don't really take care of them more. But I believe as of now, I believe if I had gotten money from Bandana time, I would have been a different person, you know. But since I've been through the gutters, you know, been through the ghettos everywhere, I believe now I'm really seeing what I'm doing as a business and, you know, as something to build my life with, you know.
Okay.
So I believe it's success, you know, that's how I say.
So you can confidently say, sleep at night, that I, Shatta Wale, I'm successful.
Blissfully.
Awesome. Now let's turn our attention to this. Do you think people are confused about you, misunderstand you?
I think people don't misunderstand me, but they are just pretending to be people who favor, you know, what they like. You know, in a nutshell, is like there's so much favoritism in Ghana.
There's so much favorites.
Yeah,
But you've
yeah.
got your favorites. You've got your Shatta movement. You love them to bits. They love you to bits.
Yeah, those are my fans. You
Yeah.
know, Shatta Movement is my clique, but
Yeah.
you know, the empire is the fans. You know, so I believe I love them because we are into music. But you know, when we talk about realness in Ghana, well, I think Ghanaians are real, but when you come to our music industry, people are not being real. You know,
But people say you're a bully. You antagonize them. You are not. You throw first punch every time.
no. You see, sometimes I always say that people should really get close to a person before, you know, they talk about them. You know, I would say if you check from history about whatever I've done in the music industry, people throw their punches at me first before I apply mine. You know, because I believe
You don't bait them.
I don't beat.
No, you don't bait them.
Like
You-
no, I don't bait them because
Really?
No, for real. Because for instance, you know, I can give you examples of things that have happened in the industry where people put up messages and, you know, or bloggers put up stories where, you know, people try to get me wrong, and, you know, I meet people and people go like, oh, Shatta Wale, you know, the kind of, you know, things we hear, I go like, wow, you know. But when they meet me, they see me to be a different person. I've met
I'm seeing you to be a different person.
I am. I'm a very nice person, you know. No, for real, because it hurts, sometimes, but I've come to grow to be used to that kind of thing. My heart is like so hard that when you hit it now, I don't feel the pain.
So, are you proud of your reputation as the reputation you have?
Well, I think any which way, God knows how clean my heart is, and God knows how real people, in this world know me to be. So I think people who say negative things about me are just people who really don't want to learn from life, but they just want to say things off-headed, but I believe the real people know who I am, because if I tell you the kind of important people in Ghana who, I go for advice and meet them and talk to them, you wouldn't believe, but such is life, you don't have to let everybody like you, some people are going to like you, some people are not going to like you.
It's quarter to the top of the hour. Guest in the studio, Shatta Wale. Sometimes you need more than a day to finish your conversations with Vodafone's GH 2 Ghana CD packages. Pick one or two of them. Guest in the studios, Shatta Wale. So,
families who have, girlfriends grooming them, they want to grow up, and be like,
They have groupies.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't?
Okay. No. Me,
Okay.
Me, I'm a very serious guy,
Yeah.
But, ladies like me, I like ladies too, It's just not my like friends,
Okay.
So, that is one thing I really want to change, because I believe Ghanaian artists are facing so much, when you talk about money problems, it's all over everywhere. Recently I heard there's this church somewhere that, artists, Ghanaian artists, when they hear there's, this man here trying to give money everywhere, everybody wants to rush and go there, and I heard this pastor is, doing miracles, helping people in the industry. And, every artist is going there because they heard he's been giving cars and he's been giving motorbikes, so people are rushing there, and recently I heard the pastor give a strong warning that if you come here with that mind that you are coming for a car, also you are a liar, the devil is a liar.
The devil is a liar.
I believe people should really give us the chance to speak out, because it's so hard to be in the studio to work, and I believe,
and not get paid for it.
Yeah, and okay. most of them are scared to talk about it, but I'm talking for them.
This is a question that's popped up about 60 times. Is Shatta Wale married?
Well, I'm engaged, but I'm looking forward to do my wedding and invite everybody to come.
So you've done the traditional?
Yeah, I've done the traditional. But
that's marriage.
Yeah, for real, but I really, sometimes, people would want to see, but I'm working on certain things, I really want to put things in place well, and, let everybody, invite everybody from my,
the whole Shatta movement will be there. Okay, but my final question: what's your biggest fear, if you have one?
Well, I said this some time ago that my biggest fear is, I think God. I believe God is one great person that people should fear. Because he can say no and yes to everything in life, But apart from that, Bashigi.
And with that, we come to a close. It's 8 o'clock. Charles Ni Ama Mensah Jr. Shatta